Alright, Chapter 23, Fuel System Supply Point. Our description of the fuel system supply point, Harmony Prime Member of the Marines, the receipt of the control of the bulk patrol and for issue of the combat forces under the tactical consideration fuel system supply point, but it is not issued for the complete system. Major components are issued in separate items for the component with the added flexibility of the system. The number of the major component depends on the size of the configuration of the system. Fuel system supply point normally consists of the two 350 gallon pumping with assembly, two 350 gallon filter separators, 6 to 10,000 gallon collapsible tank, augmented with the fuel system supply point, increase the total storage capacity by using larger collapsible tanks, 6 bottom loading points, the two 500-gallon collapsible drum filling points, 6 refueling points component with the fuel system are connected by about 2,400 feet, and hose and 11 type of the fittings of the fuel system supply point requisition, where you will only receive the hose and fittings of the connect with above with the component figure 23.1 and page 23.2. The system shows the typical layout with the table 23.1 and page 23.3 with a list of the components. Receive the manifold. The receive the manifold consists of the Y and T assembly being reduced with the 4-inch for the 3-inch for the length of the 3-inch suction hose with the 3-inch gate valves with a manifold and fuel system supply point. To receive the product with more than one transporter at a time of the provide the way of the switch one supply source to another surrounding equipment may not be used whenever the fuel is received through the manifold because the contact between the manifold and the ground is not perfect. Chapter 28 gives the information receiving the product with the fuel system supply point. Pumping in some of the filters separated collapsible tank. The fuel system supply point, even the specific pump that some of the filters separated collapsible tanks. Each described in the following paragraph, figure 23.1 and page 23.2 with over these components with the figure 350 gallon pumping in some of the 350 gallon per minute. Pumping assembly is used with the component of the fuel system supply point, normally with a 2-pier supply point. 350 gallon per minute filter separately vertically mounted with 350 gallon per minute filter separately used within the fuel system supply point to remove the in-train water with the solid contaminants of the fuel before they're pumped into the vehicles or the container. There are normally 2 filter separators per supply point. 10,000 gallon collapsible tank with a fuel system supply point, normally 10,000 gallon collapsible tanks. One the hose line manifold assembly, 2 fittings. One assembly with the 2 fittings over each for the tank with the manifold shown with figure 23.2 with the page 23.4 has 2 rising stem with a double acting gate valve with the control of the flow and flow of the fuel into and out of the collapsible tank. The bottom loading points. Fuel system has 3-inch bottom loading point with the 2 low with the tank fuel with the tank semi-trail with each of the bottom loading point with the 2 assembly producing 4-inch to 3-inch coupled with a 3-inch cam locking coupling valve followed by 25 feet with 3-inch for the discharge hose with a coupled with 3-inch cam locking coupling valve. 500 gallon collapsible drum filling point. There are 2 500 gallon collapsible drum filling points. The fuel system supply point. Each point consists of the T assembly reduced from 3 to 1.5 inch coupled with 1.5 cam locking coupling valve with a valve by 25 feet of 1.5 inch discharge hose coupled with 1.5 inch cam locking coupling valve with the pressure control with the non-component with the fuel system supply point. It's also used for the filling operation inlet pressure control with the attached for the downstream end with the 1.5 inch discharge hose with a 5-foot length with the pressure control discharge hose with connected from the control outlet with the drum elbow and with the coupler valve. Alright, show the 5,000 gallon tank with the 5,000 gallon tank with a tank suction discharge hose with just quick acting key, gate valve, filter separator hose, Y and T assembly reducers, pump plug and cap valve nozzle. The table of 12 shows the components of fuel system supply item and descriptions. 2 manifold assembly filter discharge assembly collapsible tank, 1 T manifold assembly 4 suction hose. So this is 4-inch suction manifold hose. Can and drum filling vehicle refueling point. There are 65 gallon and 55 gallon drum filling vehicle refueling of the fuel system supply. Each point with the T assembly reducing 2-inch to 1-inch found with a 25 feet 1-inch discharge hose coupled to 1-inch aluminum nozzle. Hose fitting and accessory of the tool. Fuel system supply point. You with the selection of the discharge hose, various type of the tools. So the type of the fittings and accessory, the new accessories and tool of the components described in the following paragraphs. Selection and discharge of the 2 type of the hose with the assembly of the fuel system supply point. Selection hose with the assembly of the discharge hose. Assembly each of the hose with the male coupling of the dust cap with the one end with the female with the coupling of the dust plug with the other end. Figure 23.1, page 23.2 show the length with the hose, the with the dust cap with the plug, spam speed with the hose connection not connected in the system. Fitting assembly 11 type of the fitting assembly shown figure 23.3 with the 23.5 with the fuel system supply connect with the hose, the valve, the components. Dust cap plugs must be kept in assembly with a not in use to prevent loss of the dust cap and the dust plug attached for the hose fitting of the chain. Show the all fittings and gaskets. Chapter 28 show the location fitting assembly. Accessory and tools. Accessory and tools come with a fuel system supply so they can be connected to different type of the fuel with the transfer. The other pump assembly pipeline with the cost fee with the connect with the components of the fuel system supply. Many combinations of the tool. You with the repair hose assembly. Good hose clamping, locking tools, buckle with the banding with the accessory include adapter connected with the tank car with the hose assembly pipe clamping, coupling, pipe coupling connecting fuel system supply and piping reducers connecting different size hose coupling half of the flames threaded to make the number of the connection gate valve with the wide fittings. U for the fuel system supplies point is U for the distribution point to provide storage facility with the transfer bulk fuel with the one mean with the transfer with the transport to another dispensing facility with the bulk reduction of delivery of the fuel using vehicle with the fuel system supply can receive the product with a tank truck with the rail car pipelines hose line or aircraft so it can also receive the fuel with the ocean tankers that can be able to support beach operations. It can store with 60,000 gallons of bulk petroleum and store even more with additional larger collapsible tanks are added. However, the expansion of the requires additional fitting valve with the fuel system supply can be easily moved from one place to another. It can be divided into half to handle the two different types of the fuel with different locations shown figure 23.4 and page 23.6. It can also be changed into a 10-point rapid refueling system rotary aircraft. Assembly A, Assembly B, Assembly C, Assembly D, Assembly E, Assembly F, Assembly G, Assembly H, Assembly I. 10,000 gallon collapsible tank, receiving and pumping filter, septic gate valve, 3-inch quick acting valve, 2-inch quick acting valve, 1.5-inch quick acting valve, nozzles, 1.5-inch quick acting valve, 3-inch quick acting quick valve, gates, valve, separated pumping assembly, receiving point, 10,000 gallon collapsible tanks. Chapter 24, unit and vehicle with the U and transport bulk petroleum. Testing.